Hey guys, it's Sophia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a building tutorial and today's theme will be Amsterdam canal houses. So I did say Dutch canal houses in my description because that's probably a bit more universal. When you think canal houses, you think in the Netherlands, so you think it's all over. So that's why I'm saying Dutch, but these are specifically, I suppose, more the Amsterdam style canal houses. I'll put a couple of pictures on the screen now of when I went to Amsterdam last year. I had a really great time. I really recommend it if you're interested. Lots of fun. So I've built like a very basic kind of replica of what the canal front looks like. It's typically stone brick. It's a little bit dirtier on the road, so I've tried to replicate that by making it look a bit more worn, just using some granite and hardened clay blocks. I've then also used bone block here for my parking lines against the waterfront because I like the texture. Because the bone block has the ripples through it, it kind of gives the effect more that the bricks have been painted with white. Whereas for roads in Minecraft, you'll typically find the hardened clay will be mixed with quartz because it suits it better. It looks more like painted on very flat concrete, if you get me. But yeah, so let's get started. So I'm going to be showing you 3 different widths that you can do these canal houses. The first one is the style house where you have 2x2 windows. So this one's a bit of a wider house that you don't want to be using often. The most common house you want to be trying to use will be this design here with the cyan hardened clay. So you just want 1 block wide windows and 2 blocks tall. And you want to be throwing in a few of these ones here, which are the thinner houses, which is just the 5 blocks wide, and it's just 2 windows width in the building instead of 3 like the other 2. So I like to be using the hardened clay blocks that I'm doing at the moment. So I think this is like the, I can't even remember, I think it's a grey, but you want to be using kind of neutrally brick clay, like brick type tones. So I like to use the grey hardened clay, the black hardened clay. This one here, I think it might be the brown, but I use the brown as well. I use the cyan. I also use bricks if I'm doing like stone brick for my pathways. I will use the actual red brick for the houses as well. But because I've used it for the pathway here, I don't want to do it too much. And also the nether brick is a really great material as well. So I'm just building up my house here. You want to have your Dutch canal houses probably be about 3 levels on top, as you can see here. And then you want a ground level as well. The thing that's going to make them all different and stand out and look individual is the roof. The roof styles on these houses is very important. I'm actually going to go into detail and show, I think it's about 9 different types of roof. I can't really remember how many I ended up doing. So I'll show these 3 here and then I'll show some really intricate ones on the side. There are lots of ways you can do the roof. I'm just showing you a few that pop into my head, but there's lots and lots of ways. I'll also be decorating the surroundings around these buildings a bit, so you'll kind of see how your surroundings can really play a part in making it feel like what you're wanting it to feel like. So as you can see, I think these windows are a bit too tall, so I'm going to cut it down. So I've also got different building heights. So that's something else you want to be doing. You can add more building heights by adding the roof to have like bigger, like a taller area on top. I've just sped ahead now, so I've finished the main like cube design here for my building, the main walls, but I'm going to go into detail now about a few different ways you can decorate your building. So the first one is kind of based off the house that I stayed in Amsterdam, where you actually have a shop down the bottom, but the house is up the top. So what you want to do, you want to be making a hallway down completely one side of the house, just 1 block wide, which is where you would have a stair, and then to the left there is your entry to the shop. So as you can see here, I've just made it. So what you'll do is this bit here will be a hallway, which you'll go up a staircase which will lead to the 2nd floor, and then the other door there is the entry to your ground floor shop. So this was quite common on the street that I was on in Amsterdam. There was a lot of these like house shop kind of things, so that's one thing that you can incorporate every now and then when you're building. It's just another way to add a bit of variety to your designs, because although they all look very similar, because it's hard to make them look all very different in Minecraft, there's lots of little things you can do like this to try and make it different. So we're going to go ahead now and try to add some detail to the building. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. As you can see, I've just kind of done a feature around my house there. You could add windowsills like I have here. There's lots of different things. I'm going to play around with this a lot. The final design will be a bit different than this, but I'll explain a bit more of what you can and can't, well, not so much what you can't do, there's lots of things you do. But as you can see, I'm just using a mix of the chisel quartz blocks there and the little staircases to make windowsills. I'm also going to kind of make a shop window here because this is a shop. There's different ways that you can go about designing the front of your house. You could either completely have the bottom half of the building all in quartz like this one will be. You can do feature areas like my cyan hardened clay building in the middle there was. You could have nothing that's quartz down the bottom, just a trim to separate it. You kind of want to have your bottom ground floor have a big chunk of white quartz or some lots of detail of the quartz, and then the top half you don't want too much, you want bits here and there that define the building. I'll add a bit more to these ones later on and you'll see what I mean, but there's lots of ways you could add white. You could do stick these slabs, sorry, like I have there. You could do trapdoors like this, lots of ways you can do them. It is quite hard to actually put a lot of details into these buildings because let's say if you were building this on a really large scale, you could add a bunch of detail to the building, but because you're trying to build them as realistically to an actual house size, it is actually really hard to put in that detail. A lot of these houses will have like writing painted on or building signs, the little things here and there that are in the building wall, but that's really hard to do. If you wanted to make this a bit more advanced, you could probably make the front wall actually 2 blocks wide, and then you can make kind of indents in with the quartz as well. I'm just trying to make it quite simple as a beginner's kind of idea of how you could build these houses, but you'll get the general gist of what I'm doing, and then you can go in and add your own details. So this one here you can see I'm going to be more so featuring just a strip of quartz along the top. I'm going to get rid of this quartz here because I think it's a bit too much, and I'm trying to show different designs. You don't want to be too repetitive. When I build these type of cities, I try and do each house a different design. I don't like to have 2 of the same next to each other. Even the colors, I try and keep the colors different so you can tell each one's a separate building. It's just a way, because they are quite repetitive, I suppose, it's a way to just add that little bit more variety to them. So as you can see, I'm just playing around with the windows a little bit now. There's lots of different ways you can do the windows. You could do a big window like I have there. You could actually, if you wanted, instead of having 3 separate stories, you could have 2 separate stories where one has a really tall roof, and then you could make some really big feature like windows on that second and like the first story, second story that I have there. There's lots of ways. If you search on Google Images Amsterdam, you can see some examples of these kind of windows and houses I'm going on about, and you could see how you could incorporate them in your builds. I'm going to go ahead now and do a couple basic designs for roofs on these houses. So sometimes you have this flat style where it'll just be a little bit more window up the top, and then you just literally like this will have a flat bit there. I'm going to carry this around the building as well, but there's one design. Sometimes they are really flat like that. Sometimes you do have roofs that are more like a stereotypical type roof where it's quite pointy like that. One thing that you want to be doing is trimming your roof edges here with quartz. You'll typically find that the tops of the roof will be the same building material, but then they're all accented with quartz, so that's something important to do. If you don't want too much quartz in your houses, you could always do every random house be stone brick. So like how the Cyan building there might look really good with stone brick accenting instead of quartz. It's something I didn't do that you could do. As you can see, you just want to kind of be doing different designs, and you also want to, if you have the space like I did there, you want to be including windows on these upper levels as well, just the random odd dot there or two. I'm going to go ahead now and do a few more designs of roofs that you could do. These are just some really basic ones I've come up with in my head. There are lots and lots of ways you could do intricate designs for roofs. Like I said, if you do an image search on Google, you'll see a bunch more that can give you some inspiration. I'm just going to show a few now. Also, if you're wondering why I keep placing my liner blocks and then I'm placing block evenly spaced, it's just because I'm trying to figure out my window spacing for this one, because I'm trying to keep them to how you would probably have them, which would be the cyan clay design. I'm trying to keep these the same width, so if you wanted to replicate these on that width of building, it will fit exactly that. And stone brick, like I just placed there, is another way that you could add some detail to your building without it being a bit too much. Well, while I'm building this to not make it a bit too quiet with just building, I thought I would just come out and thank all you guys for all your support. It seriously means a lot to me. I didn't expect my Minecraft channel to take off as much as it did when I first started building. I was overwhelmed with the support from Reddit and from Minecraft.net doing 2 articles about me, and I've been on Minecraft forums, and yeah, so much support. So I just want to thank you guys a lot for supporting me and being with me through this process and putting up with my newbie video skills. And before I ramble on a bit more, this little detail I'm adding here is a little overhang, that like a pulley type system. So one thing that is traditional in a lot of the houses, they'll have that little bit sticking out there. So what it is that it was a bit hard for them to lift furniture, so they actually have that system as a lever. They still use it now. So what they'll do is they'll hang a rope up there, you have your furniture down the bottom, they'll hook your furniture up, they'll pulley it up and you put it through the window, because it was a bit hard to carry them up those stairs, and they still use them now. So I've just been ahead now, so I've finished, like, I just added roofs to my buildings here. I'm just showing you a couple of different things you can do. You could leave it all quartz, or to add a bit more detail, make it a bit more realistic, make a roof. You could either do the red sandstone, because that's the red kind of roofs that you see in Europe, or I like to do for the Amsterdam builds the stone brick like I showed. If you've accented your building with stone brick though, feel more than welcome to do the red sandstone for tiles. It will look really quite nice as well. Just a bit more variety to your build. It also separates the look of it, so it's not too much like that, like I mentioned before, because it is quite repetitive, this style in Minecraft specifically. The more you can do like little roof detail like that, the better. But as you can see, there is my tutorial on how to build some Amsterdam style Dutch canal houses. I think it actually worked out quite well. I'm quite proud of myself. But see, when you add the trees like this and you have your styling out the front of your house, and then you have these canal houses, it can look really nice. I've simply got some car parks at the front. I've added a couple of stone benches and my oak trees to line my canal. I've also got some of the metal, the iron bars there, which are kind of my replicas of bike racks, and I've got some poles there which I've made out of cobblestone fence posts. I've added tulips to my windowsills, because tulips are kind of like, I think, the national flower of the Netherlands. So many tulips, and I've added lots of orange tulips because orange is the Dutch color. But like always guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you have any suggestions, but like always, thank you. Bye!